Police running all in and out the building. What the hell is going on?
Sophomore slump versus sophomore jump. Which player from the Las Vegas Raiders is going to either make that jump or be that sophomore slump? Let's talk about it. What up, love? Hey, what's good? What's good? What's good? YouTube, what's good? Raider Nation. We are in the building once again, and we are going to be talking about the sophomore slump versus the sophomore jump. But before we get into all that, if you like the Raiders, you definitely want to subscribe to this channel right here. Raider Twuan is the place to be. And you want to join the greatest chat, and I mean the greatest chat that YouTube has to offer, which is the congregation. This is the Raider Twuan Brown Cracker Salute for the congregation. And let me say this now. There's no Raider Twuan without the congregation. And there's no congregation without the Raider Nation. Hit that subscribe button and go ahead and hit that like button. Why? Because I like you. All right. But we are going to be talking about the sophomore players. And when I mean sophomore players, I'm talking about the players that are on the Raiders that are in their second year, going into their second year. They just came out of their rookie campaign, and they're going to be going into their second year in the NFL. We'll be talking about not all of them, but we'll be talking about some ones that I think are more that I think we're going to rely on. And definitely you guys can say what you guys need to say down in the comment section. You guys know how I get down here at Raider Twuan. If you're not familiar with it, we talk Raider gospel here. And you guys are able to talk your Raider gospel too. So I'm going to let you guys know what I think. And then you guys can tell me what you guys think in regards to the Raiders. Okay. I see you guys writing and talking and moving and grooving. I appreciate all that. I'm going to get to your comments a little bit later. Let me shout out some of the early birds. Rob Penny's in the building. Daniel Berry is in the building. SoCal Sal, good to see you. Blessings to you. And Al Ghost. Good to see you, Al. On this wonderful Saturday. All right. So, sophomore slump versus the sophomore jump. Okay. Before we get into that, let me break down, for those that may not know, what sophomore slump is. I'm not going to give you guys my definition. I'm going to give you guys a definition off of Wikipedia. Okay. Sophomore slump is when a sophomore fails to live up to the relatively high standards that occur during freshman year. It is commonly used to refer to apathy of students, the performance of athletes, singers/bands, television shows, films, and video games. Okay? I'm going to leave that up there again for you guys to read for yourselves. For those that may not know what sophomore slump is, it is identified as a real thing for some. Okay? And actually, we got a lot of sophomores in context, and I'm talking about second year players for those that are trying to understand why I keep saying sophomores, but trying to stay true to the title, right? In the totality of our roster, we actually have 17 guys that you would classify as sophomores. And overall, to be honest with you, I think when you look at the whole roster, those that are actually on that 90 plus roster we got right now, because obviously it's not broken down to 53 yet, right? We have a lot of young guys. Our roster is actually fairly young in age. I actually need to break that down, and I'll hopefully do some homework on that and break down like the average of the players that we have. But when I started to look at, this guy's in his rookie year, this guy's in his first year, you know what I'm saying? I think the oldest guy that we have on our roster in regards to NFL tenure is John Jenkins. And we know John Jenkins is a guy that is even still producing in his 12th year in the NFL. But overall, looking at the roster, we're actually fairly young, and I think that's a really good thing. I think it actually works well for us, but I definitely want to break into as we define what the sophomore slump is, right? Is when a sophomore fails to live up to the relatively high standards, right? There's standards that we put on these players. There's expectations that we have put on each of these players. And with the 17 guys, I'm probably going to break down about 10 or 11 of them with you today, because those are guys that I believe possibly can crack into the roster, or we're definitely going to have to be relying on them, right? And I think going along with what we have, I think we can actually move forward and build with the guys that we have on this roster. So I'm excited about it. But hey, let's hit that like button, and then let's get into those names. Okay. Excuse me for the noise in the background. All right, let's go with the first name we have, and that is Jakorian Bennett. Okay, Jakorian Bennett, corner, second year. Came off an injury situation where that was one of the things that kind of knocked him off of how much we could actually see him in on the field, right? There were certain times when he was on the field and he was getting, Bert. There was times also when I went back and looked at his tape over the seasons. There was times where it looked like he was kind of lost out there. And you know, one of the things in regards to how we're going to be breaking down these players, just moving forward to indicate, do we think it's going to be a slump, or is he going to be a player that's going to be on the jump, right? He's going to make that jump. He's going to move up. He's going to progress. He's going to get better. Two things go into play with that. One is the production. Okay. The production, and also the usage of the roster. Okay? The uses of the roster. So production and then the usage of the roster is how we're going to indicate if that person is a slump or it's a jump. Now, usage of roster is it, and let me break that down for you guys. Usage of roster indicates, okay, there might be somebody else in his room that might take snaps from him, or usage of roster is actually how he's used, or how I foresee, or how we foresee that player being used moving forward, right? Maybe his freshman year or his rookie year, he was a starter. But this year, he might be a backup. And that might bring him down in the terms of usage of roster, right? So the two indicators of if this person is a slump or a jump is projected production and projected use of roster. Okay? And you guys can let me know what you think, you know, as we go along on each player. Let me know if you think it's a slump or a jump. And as we're going along, tell me the name and then say slump or jump. Don't just say slump, jump, because I would get confused, okay? So I can understand where you're coming from, so I can understand your Raider gospel. Let me know the name of the player and then to indicate to me what you think, slump or jump. And maybe if you have something else to say about that person, go and let me know your Raider gospel on that. But in regards to Jakorian Bennett, he's in an interesting situation because he's actually in a position of where he can be that second corner opposite side of Jack Jones in competition with Brandon Faison, or he just becomes that third or fourth corner. And I think this one's a tough one for me. This one's really a tough one for me. I really want to call this one a slump. But I think it might also be a jump. You know what? I'm going to call Jakorian Bennett. And as much as I want him to get better, and as much as I want him to improve, I'm going to call this one a slump. Okay? I'm going to call this one a slump. You guys let me know what you guys got in the comment section as we're moving and grooving. Shout out to everybody that's coming in. James Purple, I see you. Milka Beezy, good to see you. Ray Love is in the building. Let me know what you guys think about Jakorian Bennett. Do you think he's going to slump, or is he going to take a jump? Now, the positive, though, in regards to Jakorian Bennett is that he's going to be, all these guys, it's going to be their second. Well, not all these guys, but a good majority of these guys, they're going to be used to the system. So it's not going to be a situation where they're not going to be familiar with what's going on in regards to, hey, I don't know what I'm doing out here. They should know fairly what's going on. And that's one thing that a lot of these players will have added to them. I think Jakorian Bennett, out of a lot of these guys on this list, is one of those guys that's half and half. And we'll see. We'll see. Like I said, I'm more indicated as a slump. But some of you guys might indicate Jakorian Bennett as a jump. Okay. But I'm going to move on to our next guy. Amari Burney, linebacker. Okay. So with Amari Burney, remember, the two factors are production and usage of roster. Okay. And I didn't write I didn't write anything down. I didn't do no handy dandy notebook. This is all in the Raider Twuan noggin. Okay. Amari Burney roster wise, and that's where I kind of want to go with Amari Burney in usage of roster. He's similar to what Jakorian Bennett is in the situation of roster, because in essence, Amari Burney should be that third linebacker. Okay. And I say he's that third linebacker because, fourth linebacker, excuse me. Okay. He should be that third, fourth linebacker because you have Robert Spillane, you have Diablo, and Masterson has emerged. He's really emerged. I think early it was just like, okay, we saw a flash, and then from there we started to see consistency, okay, for Masterson. And then there's Burney. So Burney in usage of roster, only in sense of depth, he hangs right there in the fourth spot. But because he's in the fourth spot, the usage on the field is not there. Now, Amari Burney does have the speed. Amari Burney has the physical, what you would want out of an outside linebacker. Amari Burney has that. And I think that this year, defensively and schematically, we might actually see Amari Burney a little more. And I don't think it will be because of injury. Again, this is my Raider gospel. Okay. So with that, I'm going to call Amari Burney. He's going to be a jump. 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 I think with Amari Burney, I think, like I said, his physical, his speed, if he stays in the book and works on getting depth in pass coverage, and really being available health-wise, I think we'll see improvements and a jump in production in regards to Amari Burney. Let me look at what you guys got. Milka Beezer said Amik was trash his rookie year and turned out to be solid. So I know Bennett will be okay. Yeah, and that's that's the optimism, right? That's I feel that same way in regards to Bennett. I think that's why it's tough. I think it's a slump in regards to the usage of roster. When he came out, we were looking at him to be a starter, and he has not shown that. And we're looking for options as we speak for a starter because Bennett hasn't established himself as such. So yeah, it can go that way. There's you have early bloomers and you have late bloomers, right? And I don't want to cancel Bennett out. I definitely don't want to cancel culture Bennett out. I think we can ride his rookie contract and see what happens, right? But yeah, that's definitely an option there. Bennett jump. I think Peters was a bad influence, and this is SoCal South. For those that are just listening, Bennett jump. I think Peters was a bad influence. Besides, he was rookie learning. I'm not disagreeing with y'all. I'm not disagreeing with y'all at all. I feel you on everything that you guys are saying. That's why with Bennett, I was half and half. Like it's one of those ones where it can go up and it can definitely go it can go down and that's just something we're gonna have to continue to look at. Milka Beasley, you jumping ahead, dog. I haven't even got to him yet, but we will talk about him. Ray Love says Bennett. I hope he jumps. Yeah, I look. Hey, look, and I'll say this because I don't want you guys to think that I'm just, if Jakorian Bennett, because we still have training camp coming, right? If Jakorian Bennett says, "Hey, I'm him," that works for us. That means we ain't gotta spend money on to in free agency to pick up a corner. That means we can slide that money over to go to save, well, not save now, but to spend on Trayvon Merrick and the guys that need to get re-signed, right? So my hope, my hope as a Raider fan is that all these players make a jump, because that means we ain't got to spend money on those rosters, right? I mean, on those positions. And y'all know I like, y'all know over here at Raider Twuan, my word is cheap labor. So yeah, you guys know I'm about saving money on the cap, and spending where hey, yeah, go ahead and get that big fish, because we got the money to go get him. So we're talking about players, for those, because I see some names that you guys put in the chat. We're talking about guys that are solely in their second year, okay? And there's 17 of them total on the roster. So you guys let me know what you guys think about Burney. Let me know what you guys got on Burney before we move on. All right, James, take it easy, man. Thanks for coming in. If you can listen, go ahead and listen or catch the replay. For those that have been watching the replay, thank you for watching the replay. And I do see your comments on the replay. So if you guys want to talk your Raider gospel there, you guys can do that too. Okay, Ray Love said, okay, I'm going to put it together. Burney's a jump, okay? Burney's a jump for Ray Love. All right. Moving forward. This is one. Here we go. D tackle and nose tackle Marquan McCall. Okay. Big body, physical, D tackle. Has a little pass rush to him, but can definitely move the pocket. Right now, he's about 350 in weight. Roster-wise and usage of roster, he's in a situation where I think he's a second man. I think he's the second man of that type of D tackle, nose tackle. I talked about it earlier. John Jenkins, in his 12th year, he's the starter of this body type. Okay, D tackles. There's different types of D tackles. You have your small pass rushers. You have your small. I would say smaller pass rusher types, and then you have your big just bodies. They usually call them run stuffers, but now a lot of those guys are developing pass rush moves because they know that's what's needed in the game today. And Marquan McCall is developing those things as in his second year. Now, we didn't draft him. He was picked up by the Carolina Panthers, and then we picked him up off of waivers. one thing with the Carolina Panthers is they drafted him, but then they didn't use him properly. And now the Raiders have picked him up. I'm not gonna take too much longer on Marquan McCall. I think Marquan McCall is actually going to be a jump. I think a lot of people are not talking about him. And I think he needs to be talked about. He's definitely a guy to be looking for this year, and especially in the offseason. In training camp, I mean. Okay? So Marquan McCall, I'm giving that a jump. I'm giving that a jump. Let me know what you think about Marquan McCall as I go on to my hot dog has the first name. No, that ain't even the right one. Michael Mayer. Okay? Michael Mayer. Tight end. Okay? Tight end Michael Mayer. Okay? In the room, you have Cole Fotheringham, Brock Bowers, Harrison Bryant, Zach Gentry, and Michael Mayer. There's some other. I think there's another guy in there, but I'm looking more. And when I schematically think about it, I think more about I'm leaning more towards of our 53 roster, right? So Michael Mayer was drafted last year, of course, and showed some flashes. To be honest with you, I think with Michael Mayer last year, I felt personally, that Michael Mayer could have got used a lot more. And, you can put it on whoever as to why he was not being used, as much as he should or really should have been used. But I think his usage rate last year was lower than what it should have been. And out of the tight ends, I think that Michael Mayer is probably going to be used the most. I'm going to say that again. Out of the tight ends, I think the tight end room, I think Michael Mayer is going to be the leader of that room. And he's already talked about leadership. He's talked about being the leader in that room and taking it by his grasp. And I think he's on that mission. I think he's on that time. And I don't think it's because Brock Bowers. I don't think, Brock Bowers has put pressure on Michael Mayer. I think Michael Mayer just said, hey, this is my second year. I know what I need to do. I have adjusted, to the NFL game from college, and it's my job to take control of that. And I think Michael Mayer is going to do exactly that. So I indicate Michael Mayer as a jump. Now, those that are like, oh my gosh, why are you saying that about Michael Mayer and not Brock Bowers? Brock Bowers he's a better tight end, blah, 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 blah. Brock, I do like what Brock Bowers brings to the table. I like his versatility. I like everything that Brock Bowers brings to the table. But the college game is different from the NFL game. And there are some things that Brock Bowers is going to have to learn, just like Michael Mayers did. And he's going to have to adjust to that game. And when Brock Bowers does adjust, I think he will be a good tight end. I think he'll be a great tight end. You know, I just going back to Michael Mayer, his sophomore year, his freshman year, his rookie year. You know, the reports came out that Max Crosby baptized him. You know, and Brock Bowers is going to have to go through that baptize. But Michael Mayer has gone through the fire. Michael Mayer has, again, seen what the NFL is talking about, and now he's ready to make noise. Now, in totality, numbers-wise, I think there might be a dip in numbers, you know, yardage and all that, because there's so many weapons spread around, you know, the team. And what I foresee of our offense, the whole totality of the offense, is I think everybody's going to be getting looks. I don't think it's going to be solely, you know, Jakobi Meyers getting, you know, all the yardage, or, you know, Devontae Adams getting all of the yardage. I think it's going to be spreading it everywhere, showing love to everybody. But if you want to, just going back to the slump versus jump scenario, I think Michael Mayer is going to take that jump. Ray Love said McCall a jump. Okay. Ray Love also said Mayer is a definitely jump. I feel you with that. I believe that also, and Bowers will adjust because that yeah. I think we will have something in Michael Mayer and Brock Bowers. We got something brewing in about a year or two for that tight end room. That, yeah, it's gonna be, the NFL is gonna have to really have to figure out what they're gonna do. You know, I'm gonna use not a Macho Man, but a Hulk Hogan, you know what I'm saying, reference. What are you gonna do when Michael Mayers and Brock Bowers runs wild on you? Right? That's gonna be what's gonna be cooking with our tight ends. Now, this one, I put him on the list, but I'm going to tell you right now, this is a slump. Okay? And y'all can tell me why it's a slump. Some of y'all liked him, and some of y'all was hopeful for him, but I don't know. I think this is a slump. Running back, Sincere McCormick. Okay? Running back, Sincere McCormick. All right. I think a lot of people were optimistic on Sincere McCormick when he came in. Looking at his tape, there was a lot of things. There was a lot of on his highlight tape. There was a lot of things. Okay, yeah, I think he can work. I think he can do something. He can. But production, we're talking about slump versus jump, right? And we indicated that production and usage of roster, right? And in reality, Sincere had zero production. Now, usage of roster, that's including the depth. Sincere would be what? The 5th running back at best. You got Zeus, Madison, Amir, Abdullah, Dylan Lowry. That's 4. So Sincere McCormick has a very big hill to climb just to even make the roster. And I think with Sincere McCormick, this one's a slump. It's a slump for a Sincere McCormick. Ray Love said, "Can you smell what Mayer and Bowers are cooking?" Yeah, buddy. So Cal says slump for Sincere might not make the roster. That's what I'm talking about. Now, I'm not saying that in like I want that to happen, but that's just I think that's the reality. I really think that's the reality. Ray Love said it's a slump. Okay. We're going to move on. You might like him. You may not like him. Aiden O'Connell. Aiden O'Connell, quarterback. I'm just going to say it right now. That's a jump. It's a jump. I think from last year to this year, I think there's a few things that actually makes him a better quarterback. Few things. The obvious one is all the weapons that are going to be around him. I think our offensive line, shout out Kukev, blessings, $2. Out of the O, if I put our O line on a slump versus jump, I think our O line is going to take a jump too. Okay, and specifically with Aiden O'Connell's play, I think this playbook and the way they're trying to run this offense, I think it fits Aiden O'Connell better. And those that have been, watching me, I've already indicated and believe that Aiden O'Connell is going to be our starter. Now, I'm not saying that he's our franchise guy. I'm not saying, he's going to be here for the next 10 years. But out of the guys in that room, I think Aiden O'Connell is our starter. And because of the change of scheme offensively, the O-line, and obviously, like I said, the plenty of weapons we have, I think Aiden O'Connell is going to make a jump. And, one of his knocks last year was that he's not mobile. I think a lot of people expected for him to be like a Mike Vick or something like that. But I think there will be moments where we'll see Aiden O'Connell move out of the pocket. We'll see him slide more, around in the pocket to get open. A lot of that, a lot of things we're asking for him to do last year. I think we will see improvements of that. So on many levels, I think Aiden O'Connell is going to jump. And I think a lot of people are going to be surprised at what we see out of Aiden O'Connell. I want to say that there was things in it with Aiden O'Connell last year that, again, I liked. I liked his accuracy. A lot of those wonderful catches we saw from Devontae Adams and all of that was because Aiden O'Connell was putting it where it needed to be. And I think that is also going to improve. If I can throw with somebody, and get familiar with that person. And now, yes, we're going into a new offense, but routes are routes. And I know where my wide receiver likes the ball. And I can we're linked up. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got to say much to him, but he already knows what time it is, and he knows what to do and where to be as a wide receiver. And all I got to do is, deliver him the ball. I think Aiden O'Connell is going to be able to do that for us. I don't think there's going to be a position with Aiden O'Connell where, Aiden O'Connell just does not have that. So I'm calling Aiden O'Connell a jump. Okay? I'm calling that a jump. The boss with the sauce is in the building. Alfredo, good to see you. Okay. Next one. You guys let me know what you guys think about Aiden O'Connell as I move on to the next person. Chris Smith. Safety. Okay. Safety Chris Smith. Now, coming out of college, what I got from his tape and what I noticed from him is that he's a very smart safety. And the benefit to his game was that he it's one of those situations where you I'm trying to phrase it right. Sometimes when evaluating these players, and this is the best way I can break it down. Sometimes when evaluating these players, they get hidden because of the talent that's around them. And sometimes it's hard to make assessments because was that play on them or was that play because the guys that were around them? For an example, Clemson, Cleveland Farrell, right? Cleveland Farrell had a lot of production because of the guys that he lined up next to. He was lined up next to Christian Wilkins, Dexter Lawrence, and I think his last name was Lawson. Okay. So when you're surrounded by talent, sometimes it kind of, and because he's a safety, Chris Smith, because he's a safety, he's really reacting on everything that's played in front of him because he's the last line of defense, right? So there were some things there with Chris Smith, but it didn't jump per se into the NFL. Now Chris Smith is now in his second year of the Patrick Graham system. He's also in his second year in the NFL. And it means a lot for a player's development, a lot for especially for Chris Smith. And uses the roster, he's in a situation where Trayvon Merrick, Epps, Palomal, and he's battling, and this is just what I think, he's battling with Trey Taylor. He's battling with Trey Taylor. And starter-wise, and roster-wise, I think they might keep 5 to make room for one guy. Okay? You guys let me know what you guys think about Chris Smith. But I think Chris Smith is a slump. And I don't think it's because of his talent. I just think in that safety room, I don't think he's going to get the usage. I do not think he's going to get the usage. The next guy I got for y'all today, make sure you guys hit that like button.
Fucking Stizan.
Twuan, hey Twuan, hit that like button. Why? Because I like you.
The next person is Nesta Jade Silvera. Okay. Let me say this now. Nesta Jade was actually one of my favorite guys coming out of the draft. You asked me who was my favorite draft last year. Unfortunately, it was a 7-rounder. Nesta Jade brings something to the table on our D line. And the question is he going to take that jump and either be a starter or solidify depth? Now, roster-wise, remember I talked about our D tackles, right? And there's different flavors of D tackles, right? So with our D tackles, you have your I'm gonna call your slim bodies, and then you have your big bodies. I'll just for reference. And Nesta Jade fits into that big body. So in that big body room, you have John Jenkins, you have Marquan McCall, and then you have Nesta J. Silvera. And he falls at our third in that rotation. Now, it's going to be up to these coaches on if they want to have 3 bigger body nose tackle style of D tackles or nose tackles, whatever you want to call it. So I don't know, because this is the split, right? The talent is there, but the usage of roster says otherwise. Because at most, they're going to play 2 of those guys at the same time. But in a traditional sense, they only use 1 at a time. So I think, as much as this hurts, I'm about to say it's a slump. I think Nessa Jade might actually be practice squad. He might be practice squad. Let me see what you guys got. Smith might be lost. SoCal says SoCal Sal said Smith might be lost in the sauce. I hope he stays, but might have too much talent in that. Yeah, there's a lot of talent in that safety room, and I think that might be the issue. I think that's what they'll run into, and he'll run into. It's going to be up to him to really push Trey Taylor out that spot, even though Trey Taylor is just getting to the NFL this year. Slump for Nesta. He might be that's exactly what I said. Nesta J might really just go ahead and slide him over to the practice squad. The next guy, Trey Tucker. Wide receiver. Wide receiver, Trey Tucker. Trey Tucker, for those that have been following, Trey Tucker has played a role significantly with this offense. I think a lot of the success of our roster was because of Trey Tucker stretching the field and being that speedy threat. And I think that's going to be a role that we're going to need out of him even this year. I think as much as people may be enamored with that 12 personnel, we can't get away from the 11 personnel. And that means that's one tight end, 3 wide receivers, and 1 running back. Okay? And that 11 personnel is we're going to get a lot of the wide receiver screens. Trey Tucker is going to be out there. And that's actually, to be honest with you, he might be the real deep ball option for us. Now, can the other wide receivers get downfield? Yes. Can they, if the ball's in the area, are they going to catch it? Yes. But Trey Tucker brings true speed to the game. And One of the knocks that I had on Trey Tucker was his hands. And at the end of the season, I said, hey, if Trey Tucker can get his hands together, I think he'll be even more of a better wide receiver. Now, there was other knocks on Trey Tucker, and those are things that he has to work on. Yes, it's his hands, but the other knock that I had on Trey Tucker was his routes. He used to, on tape, he rounds off his routes instead of, I'll try to do it opposite. And, he'll round it like that instead of going up and, breaking it off. And that's how you break, off of the corners or your defender, right? And he would solely rely on his speed and do that. But if he could be better and crisper in his route running, he would be even more the better of a wide receiver. And I think with Trey, with all the things that has been reported as of yet, I think Trey Tucker is going to make that jump. I think he's going to make that jump. I think this is the year that Trey Tucker is actually going to make some noise. And I'm not talking about noise within the Raider Nation, but I'm talking about noise on the NFL level. I don't think there's a lot of people NFL-wise that are talking about Trey Tucker. And I think he's going to make that type of jump. Okay. So Cal Sal said, jump for Tucker. I think he's okay. He's going to finish with 500 yards and 500. I was going to say 500 touchdowns, 500 yards and 5 touchdowns. Okay. And that's the other thing in regards to the wide receivers, because I think just of all of our pass options in totality of the offense, I think, like I said earlier, I think these guys, they may not get the numbers. You know what I'm saying? I always talk about the wide receivers, if they get 1,000 yards, that's a good season. And I don't know if they'll get all those numbers like that. Not saying that our offense ain't going to get yardage, but I think because it's going to get spread around so much, like they say, there's only one ball. I think it might be spread around so much that the numbers might take a dip, but totality-wise, everybody's eating, if that makes sense. And I think Trey Tucker can be that definitely option to that, for us as a offense. My next guy, Tyree Wilson. Now if you guys look at what I have on the screen here, I put defensive end and defensive tackle. I know the coaching staff has indicated that they want to put him at defensive end, but I don't want to run away from the idea that Tyree Wilson can possibly still play a little defensive tackle, especially on pass rush, like a NASCAR package per se situation. Shout out to my boy Eric from the SC Raiders Talk. He, when I asked him what was his third down package, he said Malcolm Kuntz, Tyree Wilson is playing defensive tackle with Christian Wilkins, and then Max Crosby on the other side. So that could be something, that could be an option there at defensive tackle, and using Tyree Wilson. Tyree Wilson, his rookie year, was dealing with an injury coming off an injury with his foot. It seemed like the idea that the coaching staff was doing with Tyree Wilson was they were taking the slow approach with him, because we had Chandler Jones at defensive end, opposite side of Max Crosby. So it wasn't like we were going to really rely on Tyree to take a huge load. I know that was also a frustration amongst the Raider Nation that we drafted a guy in the first round and we're doing the slow approach with him. But at the end of the season, it really looked like Tyree was, first of all, seems like he was healthier than what he was in the beginning of the season. And then second of all, he looked like he was getting the game. He was getting what was expected of him in the game. And then he started to execute. Maybe not fully the way that we expected him to. Maybe we as fans had loftier expectations than what was displayed. But if you ask me the question, is Tyree Wilson going to slump, or is he going to make that jump? I got Tyree on the jump. I got Tyree on the jump. Defensive end wise, he comes in as that third defensive end, right behind Malcolm Kuntz. And I like that. I like that. And, Patrick Graham and these coaches are going to figure out how they can use him and slide him around to benefit our defense. But I think our D-line has actually got better because Malcolm Kuntz has emerged and Tyree Wilson is going to get his snaps. But I think we'll see more sacks and more action from Tyree. this year from what we saw last year. He's going to come in healthy and ready to go. And because of that, I have Tyree taking that jump. Salute Detroit. Well, it's all about Detroit. Detroit God said, well, it's all about health, and it's all about what secondary is going to do. I'm not worried about defensive line. I mean, our defensive line is going to be good this year. Because of the addition of Christian Wilkins. I talked about it before. In totality of our D line. The guy that was pass rushing in the middle of our D line, which was Adam Butler, is actually our backup. And when you can move a productive starter to backup, yeah, you've got better. You definitely have got better. Let me go to the last sophomore that I'll be talking about. Like I said, there were 17 of them, but I was going to break down a few. And our last sophomore is Byron Young. Byron Young, defensive tackle. This one's easy. I'm going to call it a slump. Production was not there. And uses the roster. Kind of similar to Nesta Jade. I think he's that of the type, because Byron Young is supposed to be that like I said, that slender D tackle, that pass rush D tackle. And when you got Christian Wilkins there in that bracket, when you have Adam Butler in that bracket, you run into a situation where Byron Young has a very big hill to climb. So at best, he makes the roster. And the more realistic situation for Byron Young is that he's on the practice squad. Okay. I don't think Byron Young is going to make that jump. Now, my final thoughts overall is I'm hopeful that all these guys that I talked about, they all make that jump, because ultimately it is going to make the team better. Like I said, I think overall our team is very young. And because our team is very young and productive, it just makes it a good thing. I think we have a young, active, vibrant, ready to go team. And these guys, like I said, these guys that I talked about and more that are in their sophomore year, if they make that jump, like I said, it's going to make our team better. We can save some money in some areas. Like I said, with Jakorian, Bennett, because a lot of people were like, we need to pay for a corner. Well, hey, if he comes out there and balls and bees that guy, then we don't have to spend that money, right? Same thing with Aiden O'Connell. If he plays well, makes that jump, then maybe we don't need to F them picks or whatever to go get a quarterback or spend money to pay for a quarterback, right? So I'm hopeful all these guys do it, but those are my early predictions on if those guys will make a slump or a jump. Again, the list of guys that I covered: Jakorian Bennett, Amari Burney, Marquan McCall, Michael Mayer, Sincere McCormick, Aiden O'Connell, Chris Smith, Nestor J. Silvera, Trey Tucker, Tyree Wilson, and Byron Young. Okay. Those are our guys. And hopefully some of those guys that said it's a slump, hopefully some of those guys will make the jump. Hey, since we got a few in here, if you guys are interested in coming on to panel and talking a little bit, I got a little time on my hands. So let me know if that's something you guys want to do. I'll give you guys a few minutes if you guys want to come up here and talk your Raider gospel. Let me know in the comment section if you guys want to pull up on panel and talk a little bit. Raider Nation Jason, I see you, man. Blessings to you. If you got time, man, let me know. Let me say a few, let me pay some bills as I'm waiting for some replies. If you guys need prayer for you or your family members, hit me up on IG at Twuan, Twuan, Twuan. Also in the chat, if you need that information, hit me up. If you're live, you can put ! pray, and then I'll give you my IG. And you can hook up it from there. Also, be an organ donor. And if you're interested in that, that's always in the link description of my videos. And if you're live, you can always put ! DON in the chat. I don't talk about this much, but it's available to you guys. These are the ways that you can be a financial blessing to the channel. I don't have super chats yet, but if you want to be a financial blessing to the channel, that is how you can do that. There is the Cash App and the Venmo. If you guys want to do something for free, go ahead and subscribe and hit that like button.
Fucking Stizan.
Twuan, hey Twuan, hit that like button. Why? Because I like you.
That's right. Go ahead and hit that like button. That is free to do, and it helps the channel grow. Definitely. Hey, I appreciate you, Raider Nation, Jason. Hey, look, I don't do that. That those super crazy. Y'all be seeing all that mess that some of those 20K, subscribers, channels be putting out there. I don't do that, and that's probably why I got the subscribers that I do. But I'm glad that I do got the subscribers, and congregation that I got. Because I don't waste my time with putting reachy stuff out there. You know what I'm saying? Sophomore slump versus sophomore jump is a realistic thing. Some, players going into their second year and they're in a position where they can take a nosedive or they can trend, better. And that's the jump. And like I said, there's a few factors as to why they can make that jump in their game. A lot of it goes with familiarity. When you know what to do, you can do it better, right? It is example. Have you ever talked to somebody or have you ever been to somebody's house and their house is just like a whole mess? But if you asked them where something was, they knew exactly where it was. That's similar to what these guys are going through, right? They know where everything's at. Outside of our offense, and because the offense is learning a new playbook, but there's even still some familiarity there. But even on the more for our defensive side, because our coach has been there, for at least 3 years, right? So, the first year they're trying to figure out the playbook. They're trying to figure out where to live, how to be a pro, et cetera, right? And that's a lot to try to figure out while trying to perform on the field. Going into their second year, they know where they're living. They know what to eat. They know where to work out. They by that time they should have a daily, weekly, monthly workout schedule. You know what I'm saying? By that time, they've already indicated in the off season who they're working with, whether it's a personal trainer. They're established. You know what I'm saying? The structure of a player should be established by their second year. So by their second year, it really just boils down to, can they perform? And how well they do that is really up to them. So that's why I brought up the whole sophomore slump versus sophomore jump. And also to get you guys, what you guys think about these players. Because some of these players on that list that I gave you guys are going to be guys that we're going to, be looking for either as a key piece or, as solidified depth. And we know throughout the season, when it comes to week 12, when it comes to week 15, when it gets to week 17, somebody's going to get hurt. And we're going to have to rely on some of these guys to step up and make that jump for us, especially if our eyesights are on postseason. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You guys make sure you guys hit that like button. And remember, we're on the road to 500 subscribers by week 1. We are moving and grooving. So make sure you guys subscribe. It's completely free to do. Please support the channel by subscribing. You guys don't know how much you guys can be a blessing to the channel by subscribing. My goal is to be a blessing. Like I say, you're a blessing, be a blessing to someone else. My goal is to be a blessing to someone else through the contributions of YouTube. So definitely, if you want to help me do good for others, please consider subscribing to the channel. I thank you guys for being here and watching live, but also those that watch the replay. I see you guys being active with that. I really appreciate that. Make sure you guys hit the like button even on the replays. That also helps grow the channel. And I'll say this too. You guys make sure you guys cherish the moments with your families and loved ones, because life is not promised. People are leaving by the minute. So make sure you tell your family and loved ones that you care. I know some people are hard to say I love you, but just tell your family you care. Tell your family you care. That was my good word. I haven't did that in a while, and I actually need to get back to that. So you guys stay tuned for that. I'll be giving you guys more good words on lives, just to spread some more positivity your way, and just sharing more things of life. Right? We all experience things in life, and what is it that I learned something and not share it with you, right? But I thank you guys for coming on. Make sure you guys not miss all the other content that I have. I dropped just go watch the content. I talked about our quarterback room. I talked about a whole bunch of things. Stay tuned, because I will be talking about the Raiders college. I'm not going to tell you guys what college it is. You guys are going to have to watch the thumbnail. That'll be dropping next week. I'll be dropping what college, the name of that college, next week. And then I will be live again Thursday. For the 2 for 1 Nation podcast. We'll be live Thursday around the 3 o'clock hour. So you definitely do not want to miss that. Or if you do, definitely just hit that like button and then catch the replay. Okay. Catch the replay. Okay. Remember, you're a blessing. be a blessing to someone else. And
Vamos Raiders! Go Raiders!
Let's go. Let me give y'all another Raider Twuan Brown Cracker salute before we roll out. Let's go, Raiders.
What up, Lo?
Today is the day when our heroes of the past become our legends of the future. Time never really stopped for the great ones. We wrap them in a cloak of immortality and remember what great people they were. We recognize your Virginia man, his sons Mike and Joey. They were a football family, so that John could pursue his dreams. Tonight the 12 team overall, and a tribute to John Madden and Al Jacobs, who declared that the fire that burns the brightest in the Raiders organization is the will to win. Ladies and gentlemen, the Madden family.